I'll say it in Swedish. Vad fan har de gjort? Talk about your stone desert costing billions. That building's more or less hidden now. Hey everyone, Morten Åstad here, welcome to my channel. Well, in this video, as you could see, I was out and about in Stockholm again, and that was the last full day in Stockholm. It was Tuesday, today is Saturday, and I took the metro downtown to a station I hadn't gotten off at during my week in Stockholm, specifically because I wanted to see what they had done with the area called Slussen. So Slussen is the northern edge of Södermalm or Söder, where there's normally a bridge across to Gamla, the smaller island connecting, Södermalm Island with the mainland up north, and Kungsholmen is it, the smaller island where they have the sort of the national church, where they bury their royalty and all that. And it has been under development now for a long time. Is it a decade? And it's been a fairly controversial thing, basically because it's such an important public transport hub with a metro station and ferry points and buses coming across there, and it was fairly run down, looking very sort of late 60s, early 70s, and needed an upgrade. But the controversy was what was going to be done and how it was going to look. And I must say, I thought it looks pretty terrible. There's been environmental concerns, and they're talking about Stockholm being a cleaner city, and then they ordered this bridge that I was walking on. I think they had it made in China, and basically pulled by a barge or something across most of the world for it, something like that anyway. But the thing for me is when you come walking from Gamla, which is just lovely and wonderful and perfect with its tiny squares, which is important because the squares are surrounded by a tight, compact series of buildings, which is important in Stockholm because there's only a couple of months where Stockholm is pleasant the way you saw in my video. The rest of the time it's very windy. The wind comes in from the Baltic, which means it's cold and frigid and icy, and I mean all the water that you see there normally freezes over, and it's bitterly cold. I mean, yes, it can get pretty damn cold here in Oslo as well, but I think Stockholm is next level with all that wind. So you're building a walled building, like terraced with glass and you know, just areas all over where snow can fall down and stay on top and not fall. Doesn't have those sharp rooftops like you see in older building in Stockholm. And it's clad with this stone, which doesn't look like actual stone. It looks more like it's been, you know, poured into a mold and shaped to look like stone, like something you would buy at a garden center to clad the outside of your barbecue area or whatever. And I mean, parts of this building is just there so that there can be an escalator inside to take you up to the square on top, where you see, you know, the old buildings of Söder there. You turn around, and then at the end of a long, flat, sort of stone slab desert, you can walk over to an edge and look out at Gamla stan. And I just thought it was such a missed opportunity. And you had this bike path with no red or green light for the pedestrians. And I mean, Swedes are much more civilized when it comes to riding a bicycle than we are here in Norway. But there are no Danes, so I can't really see that being very pleasant. But and the inside, where I took the escalator up there through the inside there, we're clad with these shaped like this, what do you call them? Tiles. They look like kitchen tiles from the 1970s. They were brown with an orange tint, I think. Yeah, pretty disappointing. Anyway, from there I walked up Götgatan, where I used to walk a lot when I have been visiting Stockholm earlier for all the craft beer. Of course, I don't drink beer anymore. But I wanted to go up to Mosebacke, which is this lovely outdoor, let's call it beer garden, where you have a view of the water and over to Djurgården and all that. So I sat down there and I had a Coke Zero and a ginger drink of some sort. And it was raining a little bit, but I was sitting there getting a little wet, and it was nice. And I really enjoyed coming back to Mosebacke and that part of Gamla stan. So I went there also specifically to visit a record shop, and I sort of couldn't find it. And one reason was that I was misled by the fact that it was closed and it had posters for other things in the window. But I talked to the person at the record store just across that I had completely forgotten about, but I do remember having been there. And they said, no, they're only opened late in the week and the weekends. So, yeah. But I ended up buying a record in that shop. And that was a shop that was very Afrocentric and very jazz sort of focused. And I ended up buying an Australian punk rock record or EP there. I thought that was kind of cool. And then I walked just around the corners and did all that over at the Mosebacke. And then I walked a little bit down another street where I knew there was another record shop. And there I did buy another record. So I'm just going to show you quickly now, because I've been droning on about architecture for some reason. I bought this, mini album, I suppose you'd call it, or an EP. This is Lime Spiders. And this is a record that I would never have bought if it hadn't been for Ben Rankins. And was actually a record he talked about that I put into my Discogs want list. And this, I think, I came to the conclusion that this was or is a Swedish, a Swedish version of their record. Well, my brain is very slow now. It's been so warm in Oslo. Pressing was the word I was looking for. So, recorded at Trafalgar Studios, Sydney, November 1982. Originally released on Green Records in June 1983. So, Lime Spiders, Mick Blood, Richard Yakimishin, Tony Bambach, Richard Lawson, and Jared Corbin. This is a band that has existed on and off for many years, since like late 70s. I think they only recorded 3 albums, and they finally stopped being around in 1980s. No, oh my god, 2023. Not much to show inside, but I'll just show you the vinyl. Here we are. So, and I remember, I think I'd played this a bit on Spotify back when Ben was talking about them, and decided I liked them. And then I walked, and that was in the first shop, and then I went over to the second shop, where I did look around quite a bit, asked for a lot of things that I was interested in finding. Didn't have any of that. One thing I had been hoping to find during my trip were, like In Excess singles, because that's sort of, when it comes to In Excess, I'm almost, I never got that cassette, by the way, from Discogs. It's disappeared completely, and I'm not hearing back from the seller, so I don't know what to do about that. But my In Excess studio album collecting is complete on CD and vinyl, and nearly on cassette, so I'm focusing on trying to get those, keep getting those 7 inches, and also start maybe looking at 12-inch from In Excess, but no luck on this trip. But I ended up finding it's a little bit scuffed on the top here, but otherwise it's in excellent shape and form. This is Octahedron by Mars Volta. I don't talk about Mars Volta often, because I tend to talk about records when I get them, but I love Mars Volta. I have all of their studio albums on CD except their latest, and I bought one used copy, which was really great. Was it last year or 2 years ago now, of their debut album, full album. They have an EP as well before that, on vinyl, which I really enjoyed. And I've been thinking about getting more, but they tend to be very expensive. And I think they might be reissuing a lot of them this year. So, so how much, you ask? Was this one? Well, I was very pleasantly surprised. It's 2 LP from 2009. Cover has 2 small top splits, European original, white vinyl with printed inner sleeves, and it cost 250 kronor, 250 Swedish kronor, which is about $25, maybe 26. Like I said, Mars Volta is a band that I've enjoyed for many years now. How many? It's going to be almost over 20 years now. Deloused in the... Anyway, guys, I do hope you have enjoyed my Stockholm trip, showing various places. The video for Nostalgie Palace seems to have been very popular and well liked, and I had a lovely time. kind of regretted going back after just a week. I could have stayed longer, but I spent a lot of money on records, and I felt kind of beat. And yeah, so it was a long train ride back as well. The train kept stopping because of signal problems, and they blamed the thunder lightning storm that had been the day before. But they had another reason for saying why we were late on the way there. So there you go. Anyway. Why did you fly? Well, I don't like flying that much, and I try to not spend my fear of flying on trips where I can get there within reasonable time on a train. So anyway, guys, please click like, that helps my channel. If you want to subscribe, I show records from when I get them often. I show record fairs when there's some of them around. I do try and do some reviews from time to time. I do threads, and my thing is that often I'll film at various places around where I live, mostly in Oslo now these days, or if I, like I did here, travel before I show the records. That's kind of my shtick, and I hope you enjoyed that. So I hope to see you soon. Please leave a comment and take care. Bye.